It is October 19th, 2021, 5:32 p.m. So we're called to order. This is the County Council's adoption of the 2022 budgets that we are meeting for this evening. And we'll go ahead and do a roll call of council members that are present. So please indicate by voice that you are here when I call your name. Mr. Deckard.
Here.
Ms. Hawk.
Here.
Mr. Iverson.
Here.
Mr. McKim.
Here.
Ms. Munson.
Here.
And Ms. Wiltz.
Here.
Fantastic. We are all here and accounted for. So we're going to move on now to item 2, which is adoption of our agenda. And well, let's see here. Do we have anyone who would like to add or remove an item from tonight's agenda or do any reordering of our agenda?
Well, yes, thank you. I would, council, like to move that we not necessarily reorder, but renumber the items that are currently on the agenda, changing item number 5 to a number 4, item 6 to 5, item 7 to 6.
Can you move that unanimous consent?
I always get confused about the rules with the Zoom meetings and what we can do unanimous consent wise or not, but I agree. I think I think just to be safe, we've been told that we need to do roll call votes for, you know, any of this stuff, but totally understand and agree that that would be nice if we could. I don't want to take up a whole lot more time, but this is just kind of had a little bit of an error with the ordering. We have a second on Ms. Wiltz's motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Any public comment? All right, we'll take a roll call vote to amend the agenda.
Councilor Munson,
Yes.
Councilor Deckard,
Yes.
Councilor Hawk,
Yes.
Councilor Spoonmore,
Yes.
Councilor Iverson,
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz,
Yes.
Councilor McKim.
Yes, I almost voted no, just to be ornery on this.
That's what we need. Get this budget meeting started off with lots of controversy. Very good.
Motion passed unanimously.
All right, so that clears up the agenda. Thank you, Ms. Wiltz. And now we will move on to item 3, which is second reading and adoption of the 2022 budget. So we'll start with item 3A, and that's the Monroe Fire Protection District.
Council, I move to approve ordinance 2021-46, Monroe Fire Protection District 2022 budget, which can be found in the council packet. This ordinance was read into the record on Monday, October 18th, 2021, and is incorporated here by reference.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we'll now see if we have any questions or discussion from council. Any members of council like to speak on this? We've had a lot of discussion about these budgets over the last few weeks, so certainly understand if we're ready to just get to the vote. We'll see if there's any public comment. There's no public comment. So Ms. Miller, we will take a roll call vote to accept and approve the budget.
Councilor Deckard,
Yes.
Councilor Munson,
Yes.
Councilor McKim,
Yes.
Councilor Spoonmore,
Yes.
Councilor Iverson,
Yes.
Councilor Wiltz,
Yes.
Councilor Hawk.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay, and up next is item 3B. It's the solid waste management districts 2022 budget.
Council, I move to approve ordinance 2021-47, Monroe County Solid Waste Management District 2022 budget, which can be found in the council packet. This ordinance was read into the record on Monday, October 18th, 2021, and is incorporated here by reference.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anything further from council? Any questions or comments on the Solid Waste Management District's budget? All right, seeing none, we'll see if there's any public comment. And I see no public comment, so we'll take a roll call vote to approve this budget.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Spoonmore,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
yes,
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk.
yes,
Motion passed unanimously.
All right, and moving right along, item 3C is the Monroe County 2022 budget.
Council, I move to approve ordinance 2021-48, approving Monroe County government's annual budget for the calendar year 2022. The budget numbers were read into the record on Monday, October 18th, and those numbers and the ordinance are incorporated herein by reference. To reiterate, the council approved an increase to the general fund council budget in the amount of $51,944 on Monday, October 18th, 2021. The revised budget for Fund 0101 General Fund is $40,832,210. The adopted tax levy is $20,959,932. And the adopted tax rate is 25.07 cents.
Second.
All right, thank you. And let's see if any council members would like to have some discussion on the Monroe County budget for 2022, or if there's any questions. Mr. McKim.
Yeah, so we're voting on an $87 million budget, and the vast majority of it, this is really meant for the public. The vast majority of it consists of basic county services that most people don't even notice unless something's not working. County highways, the justice system, the process of property assessment and tax collection, stuff that isn't very exciting, but is absolutely essential to our quality of life here. And I know each of us on the county council undoubtedly looks through this budget through a different lens. And I just wanted to kind of quickly highlight a couple of items that this budget includes that I think are worthy of note, and that I think just kind of shows the vast, spread of things that county government is responsible for. And each of you might have your own items that you take particular notice of in this budget that you may be in favor of or you may be against. But just, some of the things that are notable to me: a 4.3% increase for Stone Belt, Life Designs, and Centerstone. Increases in the cost of management of the Justice Building in order to provide the contract employees a living wage. $70,000 increase in the coroner's office for autopsies, things that we do that aren't always fun, but are absolutely necessary. $30,000 investment in a partnership with the BEDC to continue to foster development of local economy, an additional shift of mental health services at the jail, additional investments in county parks, including hourly support, staff support, replacement of 30-year-old soccer goals that are falling apart, funding of a 5-year master plan that's necessary to continue to be able to receive grants, and upgrades to a maintenance building that allow our parks equipment to actually be stored securely. Also, asphalt crack sealing on the Vernal Pike Greenway and other maintenance on our greenways, resulting from the freeze-thaw cycle that's just something that we all live with in Indiana. Fully funding the changes that we made last year in the merit deputies contract and raising the salaries of our county police officers to be competitive in the region, and fully funding the educational incentives for merit deputies. Additional funding for search and rescue equipment for the dive team in the sheriff's office. Addition to the public safety answering point to add new dispatchers. Fully funding a secure 2022 election. $2.5 million from our major bridge fund for the Fullerton Pike and Mount Tabor Road bridges. New personnel in our stormwater department to handle increased requirements for protection of our critical watersheds. $100,000 to go through and comprehensively fix the parcel layer on our county GIS, which is essential to anyone wanting to improve or build on or develop their property. A substantial increase in our public health capacity, including a new environmental health services manager who will add capacity to our septic permits and permitting and inspection system necessary for anybody wanting to improve their property out in the county, and a population health outreach manager, as well as a new administrative assistant to add capacity in vital records. And then finally, a $2 million investment in our human resources for county employees, trying to ensure that our county employees are compensated fairly and competitively, and that we continue to be a competitive employer of the best employees to be able to provide services to our residents. So those are just some things that kind of stuck out to me in the budget. So thank you for indulging me.
That was a terrific review there. Thank you, Mr. McKim, and it really reflects, I think, everything that we've been working towards over these last few very busy months as we've been working on the budget and so many other important issues that are kind of occurring simultaneously here in the county. But that was great information you just provided there. We'll see if there's any other comments from council. And yes, I see Ms. Hawk's hand.
Yes, while the numbers were not read off for this evening, the numbers do include that $3 million bond this year. As you know, most of the things that was read off just now by Council Member McKim, I have fully supported and advocated for. Not all, but just about all. And while I support that, I made it clear that I would not be able, because the way the state has it set up, we vote either on the whole thing up or down. And if there is something there that you simply cannot support, then you have to vote it down. And I've done that before. I did that when I was very much against the purchase of the quarry property. And so for those reasons, and to be very clear, there's money in the county coffers to provide these $3 million worth of capital items. And indeed, because it's in that rainy day fund, it's anticipated to have at least $8 million left at the end of the year. Those funds really should be used for capital items or one-time type expense, simply because you cannot count on that to make payroll. You can't count on that because it's not replenished. We cannot count on it being replenished as it has in the past. And so for those reasons, I just don't want to go to the public and tell them we don't have the $3 million to do these projects. And I cannot support that. I support many other things in the budget, but that is the choice that they give to us at the state. They didn't used to do that. We used to be able to vote on appropriations separately from tax rates and levies and so forth. Not allowed to do that anymore. So I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Hawk. Any other questions or comments from council? I think, kind of going back to Mr. McKim's review of some of the successes that we've seen, what I'm most proud of with this budget is that I think it, will be making unprecedented investments in our people. And since I joined council 6 years ago, this was something that was very, very important to me, that we work towards making sure that our people are fairly compensated. And I think that we've been through a lot of work on this over the last several years, and I'm proud of the results, and I'm proud that we all have been able to collaborate together to make this happen for our people. So Monroe County government has great employees, and I hope this will be viewed as one of the more important investments that we've made in the future in Monroe County government. And I'm proud to have had a role in that process. I also want to thank our staff for the tremendous amount of work that they've put into preparing the budget. And, you know, we could not do any of this without our great staff, the council office and the auditor's office. I am just so proud of all of the sacrifices that they make to make sure that we can get these budgets in shape. And this was a particularly challenging year for us as we look to implement these WIS recommendations. It's not an ideal process. I totally understand that. And, you know, it put a lot of extra work in addition to, you know, everything else that's going on in county government right now, just a lot of extra work for our staff. And you all have done a wonderful job for us. So thank you so much for everything. Any other discussion from council? Okay, do we have any public comment? Seeing none, we will take a roll call vote, please.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Spoonmore,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
No.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard.
Yes.
Motion passed majority 6-1.
Okay, and that will finalize item 3. And we will now move on to item 4, which is second reading and adoption of the 2022 salary ordinance.
Council, I move to approve our ordinance 2021-49A 2022 salary ordinance, elected officials, which can be found in the council packet. This ordinance was read into the record on Monday, October 18th, 2021, and is incorporated herein by reference.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any additional discussion on this, or does staff have any additional information for us? See, Mr. McKim's hand is raised.
Only just reminding everybody that this is a placeholder salary ordinance, and that we still have a lot of work ahead of us to actually come up with a salary ordinance that we can all live with, and that implements the new WIS system in a way that's equitable.
Thank you. Ms. Hawk?
Yes, just as a reference, it is my understanding, and we've been told that within the budget, there has already been dollars put, and we hope it will be enough to cover our projected salary ordinance once we get it to where we want it to be. And once again, agreeing with Councilmember McKim, this is just because we are required to vote on a salary ordinance at the same time that you vote on the budget adoption. We had to come up with something, and there simply was not enough time to give this serious thought to make sure that we knew the numbers and that we were being fair across the board to all of our county employees, which we will continue to work very hard to get that done before year end.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Hawk, and absolutely agree with everything you just said there. Any other comments from council? Any questions? Okay. We'll see if there's any public comment. All right, doesn't appear there is, so we'll take a roll call vote.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Spoonmore,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay, and that will conclude item 4. We'll now move on to item 5, which is council comments. Have any council members who'd like to make, Michelle?
I think we missed 4B.
We did.
4B,
Yeah, we've
I'm
got
sorry.
2. Yeah, we've got.
Okay, council, I move to approve ordinance 2021-49B, the 2022 salary ordinance for Monroe County employees, which can be found in the council packet. This ordinance was read into the record on Monday, October 18th, 2021, and is incorporated herein by reference.
Second.
All right, sorry for missing that. 4B, we've been having a lot of discussion about 4B lately. That was my omission there. Maybe I was trying to avoid it intentionally. Okay. Do we have any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Deckard.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to comment on this particular portion. Our ongoing salary work, which has been really notarized tonight, not only with the previous item 4A, but this 4B. This has been an ongoing work here in the last couple of weeks. It will be in the next few weeks with our commitment to wrap this up as part of the budget process. One thing I have noticed I've not been on the council as long as others, but one thing I've noticed since 2019 is that the time between budgets seems to run quicker, and the things that we do around budgets and add on and do later and get to and preparation for the next one really is ongoing. And truly, if there's something someone doesn't like about the last budget, certainly that process for the next one almost begins right now, day one afterwards. Similarly, this salary discussion for our employees who we love and value and know are our front line in all these services that Councilor McKim talked about, they're a huge part of that. And so I think sometimes we do get fixated on one particular budget adoption, one particular budget day, but this salary work that's going to be ongoing here in the next couple of weeks, few weeks, is really emblematic of how this whole process works and probably will work for some time. And last thing I'll say is I'm really impressed every time how much gets done, how hard certain things are, but what we do, we don't stamp out, we don't get mad, don't shut down, don't do a continuing thing forever. We get it done because that's the way the law is and that's the way local government is. And it's a good example. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deckard. Any other comments? Okay. We'll see if there is any public comment now. Do we have any public comment? And it looks like we do. Mr. Shelton, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. Jim Shelton speaking on behalf of the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce, speaking on behalf of the business community. We want to thank you for your efforts on this. They have been long and extensive and hard. I couldn't agree more with some of the comments about the classiness of the employees in the county. I deal with some of them as a member of the Redevelopment Commission. They're terrific. I agree with the support you guys are getting from Ms. Shell and Ms. Miller and other staff people. Having been watching this for a number of years, it's extremely complex to deal with these things in Indiana. Maybe it is in every state. And I just want to thank you for your efforts on this and tell you we think you've done a really good job and we appreciate it and look forward to the next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Shelton. Okay. Do we have any further public comment? It does not appear so. So I think we're ready for a roll call vote.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Deckard,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson,
Yes.
Counselor Wiltz,
Yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Munson,
Yes.
Counselor Spoonmore.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Okay, now we are to the time of council comments. Do we have any council members who have comments? And yes, Ms. Munson, I see your hand.
I didn't want to leave our meeting tonight, which is a culmination of many meetings dealing with the budget, without thanking our technical services department and CATS, because they are responsible for helping the public be able to know what is going on with their government and their tax dollars. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Ms. Munson. Mr. Iverson.
I also wanted to use my time to send some thanks out, as this seems like an appropriate time. And thanks especially to Michelle. It's really been wonderful working with you, and you make this process so much easier than I think it otherwise would be. I really appreciate it. And Ms. Miller, I really appreciate all the time. And in fact, as I listened to the pitter patter of children's feet above me, I remember back to those days of having little ones at home, and just how wonderful but also stressful it is. So I really appreciate you being on camera and being able to be at all of our meetings. I also wanted to send a thanks to all of our department heads who worked very hard on their budgets. And I didn't want to lose a focus that we are still dealing with the pandemic. And this has not been easy. We're not flush with cash and allowing the department heads just spend with abandon at this point. And it's been wonderful to work with the department heads to really be able to spend within our means. And I really appreciate everyone working so hard on that. And lastly, I wanted to thank my colleagues on this screen. As the junior member of this squad, it really does feel like we're a team, that we're all pulling in the same direction for our community. And in particular, I wanted to thank Mr. Spoonmore for his leadership. It really does take someone to make sure the train stays on the tracks. And Mr. Spoonmore, you are very good at that. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. Ms. Hawk.
Yes. I wanted to say, first of all, a great big thanks to all the county employees who remain loyal to Monroe County government. And that's the reason why it's so important that we make sure that they are properly compensated. We see throughout every day, you hear concerns about so many businesses not being able to keep their doors open because they don't have the employees to do the work. There could never be a better time than this year to make sure that we have adjusted the salaries for our county employees. When we have, we struggle just to get them up to $15. Now for $15, people in the fast food places can't hire somebody. So we have to move forward and make sure that they are adequately covered. So I thank the county government employees for continuing to work hard and trust that we will make an adjustment to that. I thank our staff, and of course the staff in the auditor's office has to work well with the staff in the treasurer's office and all the other departments, as well as the council office. But most importantly, right now, I'd like to thank council leadership, because without that, we wouldn't be where we are today. It could have been a very unpleasant year where people were not getting along, or we as a council have determined we're going to be polite and listen to others. We're going to play nice in the sandbox, even if we don't agree. And that is in part because our leadership has shown us that's how we must behave. And so I appreciate that. Thank you for a good year, folks.
Thank you, Ms. Hawk. Anything further from council? Yes, Ms. Wiltz.
I feel like everybody's covered all the thank yous, and I'm not creative enough to come up with another one, but I didn't want to just sit here with a goofy smile on my face and not say a word. I truly appreciate working with you all, and it's a privilege to kind of serve in this capacity. So that's it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wiltz. And I've got to kind of pile on to the Thinkathon here. It's, you know, particularly with my council colleagues, I think, you know, this has been such a profound and meaningful experience for me serving on council. And I know that we make a huge difference in this community. And, you know, when we collaborate together on these things, it just makes that so much more special for me personally. So I just want to thank you all for, you know, it's been a very hectic, busy last year. And I think we really did a great job of serving the community and working together as a team. And I think that, you know, this type of teamwork that we see in an elected body like this is the exception. It's not the norm. And we see examples all the time of elected bodies that, you know, have a hard time with working together or even passing budgets. But you know, I'm glad that we have been able to, you know, really deliver for the community. So thank you all for that. Appreciate it. All right, anything else? Doesn't appear so. Let's see, that's it, right? We can go ahead and adjourn this meeting. We're on to item 6 now, and that is adjournment. Thank you all. We'll have a good rest of the night, and we'll see you next time.